They always say the people who know your past hold the sharpest daggers for your future. And for Meghan Markle, that dagger has a name: Trevor Engelson, the Hollywood producer who once called her his wife, long before Buckingham Palace gates ever opened for her. Their marriage ended, yes, but Trevor didn't just walk away with heartbreak. He walked away carrying stories. Stories about Meghan that the public has never fully heard. Stories that peel away the polished Duchess image and show the Meghan that Trevor knew best. And one of those stories? It traces back to a single night in Toronto, 2016. A night so scandalous, so explosive, that it could have ended Meghan's royal fairy tale before it even began. A night that was buried so deep, there were no headlines, no police reports, no whispers in the press, nothing, until now. Because behind the smile, behind the carefully curated speeches and Instagram quotes, lies another Meghan. A Meghan Trevor remembers. The organizer, the supplier, the woman who could keep a party alive long after everyone else was ready to go home. And that's where this tale begins. Toronto, 2016. At this point, Meghan was on the cusp of transforming her life forever. Prince Harry had flown into town for what was supposed to be a quiet, secret rendezvous. On the surface, it looked like a blossoming romance, a fairy tale blooming behind closed doors. But whispers from insiders tell a different story. That night wasn't just about stolen kisses or quiet dinners. Meghan, they say, was allegedly orchestrating something far more dangerous. Toronto's nightlife crowd had a term for it: a run. And it wasn't about running through the streets or a night of dancing. It meant indulgence. It meant substances. It meant walking into a world that Harry, of all people, should have been kept far away from. And then came the name that set jaws crashing to the floor: Princess Eugenie. Yes, Harry's own cousin. Her name was tied to that night's plans, whispered among those who knew what was unfolding. Did Eugenie know? Was she part of it? No one can say for sure, but the very mention of her name was enough to send shockwaves. One wrong move, one headline, Harry and Meghan's romance would have gone up in flames. Worse, the entire royal family could have been dragged into scandal. And according to those close to the situation, something did go wrong that night. A close call. A brush with exposure so dangerous, it could have ended everything before it began, but it didn't. Why? Because the story was buried, erased, no mugshots, no flashing lights, no tabloid frenzy, silence. And sometimes silence is louder than any scandal. Sources insist strings were pulled, and not just any strings, the kind only the powerful can move. Influence, money, power, all working behind the curtain to make sure the night vanished without a trace. The palace had too much at stake. Harry's reputation was already fragile. Meghan's image was being carefully crafted. And Princess Eugenie's name? Too close to the fire. A cover-up was the only option. What should have been headlines screaming scandal turned into silence overnight. And at the center of it all, Meghan Markle. Calm, composed, and, according to whispers, shockingly skilled at keeping the night alive and keeping it buried. But here's the thing. To understand how Meghan could navigate nights like that with such ease, you need to understand the world she was living in. Toronto wasn't just a city where she filmed Suits. It was her playground, her second life, hidden away from family back home. That world spun around Soho House. Forget the prim, proper royal clubs. This was an elite playground where the powerful came to indulge. Wine, laughter, parties. That was just the surface. Behind closed doors, the whispers claimed the real menu was much darker. Lines of cocaine, arrangements made in secrecy. And Meghan? She wasn't sitting back as a passive guest. According to those who saw her there, she was the connector, the one who made sure the night didn't run out of fuel. She didn't just know who wanted what. She knew how to get it, how much to bring, how to make sure it arrived without anyone raising suspicion. Meghan wasn't remembered for just her beauty or charm in those circles. She was remembered for her access. She was the reason the party could stretch until sunrise, the one who made the impossible possible, the one who made everyone else feel untouchable even as they crossed lines. And that's why the whispers about Toronto never really went away, because it wasn't some random slip. It wasn't a one-off mistake. It was a glimpse into the Meghan Trevor knew. Before Toronto, before Prince Harry, there was Trevor Engelson, the man who thought he was marrying a free-spirited actress with big dreams and a bright smile. The two tied the knot in Jamaica back in 2011, and oh, what a wedding it was. Oh, not because of the vows, not because of the tropical backdrop, not even because of the so-called love story. Guests remember something else entirely. They remember Meghan sitting down and, brace yourself, rolling over 100 joints for her guests. Yes, 100. Not a funny little joke. Not a playful, oh, I'll roll a few for laughs. It was an operation. Organized. Efficient. Meghan wanted to make sure everyone had exactly what they needed to set the atmosphere. At the time, friends brushed it off. They laughed. They called it cheeky, even charming. Oh, Meghan is such a fun bride, they said. But now, looking back with what we know, it doesn't feel like a quirky moment anymore. It feels like a pattern. This wasn't just Meghan participating in the night. She was curating it, directing it, supplying it. She was the one ensuring the vibe was perfect, ensuring everyone's needs were met, ensuring the night didn't die out. And Trevor, poor Trevor, he saw it all up close. When Trevor married Meghan, he didn't just marry the actress from Suits. He married into the version of Meghan who knew exactly how to keep a party alive. The version who thrived on being the center of it all, the one people trusted when they wanted the night to last forever. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. Meghan mastered something few people can. She lived multiple lives at once. To her Hollywood circle, she was the struggling actress chasing auditions, hustling, talking about bigger dreams. To her family back home, she was the polished daughter who kept up appearances. To Harry, she was the supportive girlfriend, the confidant who made him feel safe from the suffocating palace walls. But in Toronto, among the Soho House crowd, Meghan was someone else entirely, loud, bold, unflinching when the lines of powder appeared. She wasn't flustered, she wasn't nervous. She was the one who set the tone. She was the one who made everyone else feel like the night could stretch on forever. Because she held the keys. The brilliance in all this wasn't just what she did, it was how she did it. Meghan kept her world separate. She gave just enough of herself in each circle to make people feel like they truly knew her, while never letting the versions overlap. That wasn't a coincidence. That was strategy. That was survival. And that's why the whispers of the Toronto scandal are so believable. Meghan had always been able to adapt, to become what the moment demanded. When she met Harry, she didn't have to pretend to be innocent. Harry wasn't looking for that. Let's not forget, Harry already had a history. The Vegas pictures, the drunken nights, the whispers of wild escapades. Scandal wasn't new to him. What he needed wasn't a saint. He needed someone who could keep up, someone who could take his recklessness, his indulgence, and not just match it, but manage it. And that's exactly what Meghan gave him. Sources from that circle whisper that Meghan offered Harry something he couldn't find in the palace. Freedom. Freedom to indulge without the risk of scandal. Freedom to step into shadows without fearing exposure. Freedom to be reckless but still protected. Meghan knew how to make indulgence look invisible. She knew how to clean up messes before they became headlines. For Harry, that was intoxicating. He had grown up under the glare of paparazzi, every misstep magnified. With Meghan, he found someone who didn't just accept that side of him. She controlled it. She made it feel untouchable. And that bond? That was stronger than love. That was survival. The official story? Cosmetic upgrades, Hollywood polish, nothing unusual for an actress preparing for fame, but insiders from her Toronto days whisper a far darker explanation. Too much indulgence, too many lines, they say, can eat away at cartilage, slowly destroying from within. Surgery then becomes less about vanity, more about survival. According to those whispers, Meghan's procedures weren't simple beauty tweaks. They were cover-ups, repairs, each one designed not just to refine her image, but to erase traces of a lifestyle she couldn't afford the world to know about. With every surgery, she wasn't just reinventing, she was burying the evidence of the Meghan who came before. Line up the photos through the years, and you don't just see a woman chasing perfection. You see someone rewriting her face, mask by mask, sealing away a past that threatened to rise up. And it didn't stop at her reflection. Meghan's eraser stretched into every part of her life. Toronto friends who once partied with her, gone, cut off overnight. College friends with shared memories, replaced, pushed aside. Even family members found themselves quietly severed, silence filling the gaps where ties once were. This wasn't playful reinvention. This was calculated, strategic, a cycle of build, erase, rebuild, erase. Every time Meghan stepped into a new world, she made sure there were no bridges left behind, no one who could connect the dots. So, when whispers about her past surfaced, Meghan could smile and dismiss it. That's not me. And in a way, she wasn't lying. Because that version of Meghan no longer existed. She had erased her. And Trevor Engelson, he experienced it firsthand. He wasn't just an ex-husband, he became part of the erasure, deleted from her story. Not just as a partner, but as a witness. A witness to the Meghan who rolled 100 joints in Jamaica, the Meghan who organized nights in Toronto that could have ruined everything. By cutting him out, by cutting so many out, Meghan ensured no one could stitch her past together. But cracks, no matter how carefully hidden, don't stay buried forever. The seams in Meghan's story started to show. In one interview, she swore she had never Googled Prince Harry before meeting him. Yet in another, she described his favorite qualities in such practiced detail, it sounded almost studied. In public, she claimed to feel isolated, trapped in the UK, cut off from everything. But records later revealed she was traveling. Italy, Amsterdam, New York. Hardly the image of a prisoner. Then came the mysteries that still linger. The secrecy surrounding Archie's birth certificate. Why refuse to release the full details if there was nothing to hide? Why cloak something as ordinary as a birth in layers of silence? Rumors swirled. Some even questioned if Meghan's own birth year was different than the one she claimed. In Hollywood, such details barely cause a ripple. But in royalty, every detail is magnified. Every gap in the story becomes a chasm of speculation. Even the palace seemed to grow cautious. At first, Meghan's royal biography was glowing, brilliant student, double major at Northwestern, fluent in multiple languages, celebrated humanitarian, a modern duchess, polished and perfect. And then quietly those details began to disappear. The palace website stripped away the accolades. What remained? A single line. Meghan Markle, actress from Suits. For an institution as precise as the monarchy, that wasn't a mistake. mistake. That was deliberate. A calculated rewrite, a gentle but unmistakable distancing from the narrative they once helped to create. So, who is Meghan Markle really? The ambitious Hollywood actress? The glowing duchess walking into Windsor Castle? Or the strategist described by insiders, the supplier, the eraser, the master of reinvention? The evidence points to one chilling truth. Meghan was never swept up by fate. She was playing the long game, always. A woman who compartmentalized, who controlled narratives, who buried inconvenient truths and emerged reborn again and again. And that's what makes her story so magnetic, because for every glamorous photo, there's a shadow just outside the frame. For every speech about charity and kindness, there's a whisper of the nights in Toronto. For every polished image, there's a Trevor Engelson remembering her as the woman rolling joints for an entire wedding party. Meghan Markle built her legend not by chance, but by design.